As you can see, the cars are pulling off of pit road, heading out onto the 2.5-mile oval of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And let's get the latest update from pit lane. Dr. Jerry Punch, you're up.
Thank you, Marty. You know, Kyle Busch is the winningest driver in Nationwide Series history, but he is winless this year in 10 starts, and that's made him frustrated, if not angry. You know, his startup team here has had its share of growing pains and gremlins and bad luck, you know, and the pressure on these exhausted guys is simply immense. However, a win today by Kyle and all would be forgiven. Here's Dave Burns.
Doc, the Menard name has been a part of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway scene since 1982, but it had never been in victory lane until last year when Paul Menard sealed it with a kiss in Sprint Cup. He's got a chance to score another historic win today. He's got a fast car, he's got an upfront qualifying spot, and oh, by the way, he already gets the celebration in victory lane. Mike Mazzaro?
Dave, in 1995, Richard Childress celebrated one of the highlights of his career right here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway when his driver, Dale Earnhardt, won the Brickyard 400. Tonight, he's hoping for a moment that could rival that. He has 2 grandchildren in this field, the youngest of which, Ty Dillon, who has simply been remarkable this weekend. In just his second career nationwide start, he qualified on the inside of row number 2. I spoke with him moments ago, and he said his objective tonight, just have fun. Marty Reed, nothing would be more enjoyable, I would think, than celebrating in victory lane right here in Indianapolis.
Can you imagine being that young and starting 3rd at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? Let's check our dual path onboard cameras for you, because we've got a passel full for you. It's Kurt Busch in the number 1. He's in the Chevy onboard camera. Elliott Sadler with our Nationwide Insurance Dash for Cash on board. Of course, he's one of the contenders. Austin Dillon in the Advocare onboard camera. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., another Nationwide Insurance Dash for Cash camera. We'll be talking to Danica Patrick in a matter of moments at the GoDaddy.com. She's our in-race reporter. Denny Hamlin with our Goodyear on board. Brad Keselowski with the Dodge on board. And our pole sitter, Casey Kane, in the fresh from Florida Gulf Seafood on board. Of course, Danica Patrick made her name here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A total of 7 starts in her career. She only finished outside the top 10 in one of those events. 6 in the top 10, and 2 of those in the top 5 with a career best 3rd. And let's talk to her. She's our in-race reporter.
Hey, Danica, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have a copy?
Copy.
Hey, Danica, we're going to go to our mailbag first, and overwhelmingly, the question was pretty similar than what comes from James in Albany, Georgia, from all of your fans. How does it feel to come back to Indy, but in a Nationwide car?
Well, good question. I'm about to find out. I think that the most exciting part about the Indy 500 is obviously the race. So, you know, you definitely get a little aero tight, and but I feel like a little bit of my natural visual of the line is not right because we don't run quite as low in the Indy cars, so I got to really force myself down there.
What were some of the challenges that you faced on Thursday and you anticipate here today with this stock car versus your Indy car?
Well, I mean, I was loose and tight at different times, so I think there's a lot of the similar things. You know, loose into one and then tight mid to exit. Those things are things you face in an Indy car, but I think we're going to find out just here in the race all the things that are going to surprise me the most. I think side force is something that I'm not used to having to worry about in an Indy car here, so I think cars on your outside are going to be a real problem.
The excitement level as a driver, as a competitor, about the same in starting this versus the 500?
Well, I don't know. It's tough to compare anything to the Indy 500. You know, I have such great memories from that. So, but a win would definitely have to take the cake at this point.
Well, we'll be following you. Good luck in trying to get that win here today. Thanks for talking with us. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Tony Eury Jr.
All right, copy that. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Hey, Tony Jr., Andy Petrie in the booth. Without having any history with these cars or any notes to go by, what do you do to prepare for this first race for the Nationwide Series here at Indy?
No, Andy, that's a good question. I mean, basically, you know, the only thing we can go off of is our experience that we've had in the Cup cars here and, you know, the guys at Hendricks that help us out there. So we can just go off of that. We know the car's got to turn really good here in the middle of this race because the track's going to tighten up and aero is going to be a big thing. So, you know, and then fuel strategy is going to come down here to the end. So we just got to be smart here, have good track condition here towards the end of the race.
Yeah, Tony, what about the track? Do you think it's going to tighten up or is it going to free up as it gets later and later? This is about as late as we've ever raced here.
Well, typically as the track's cooled off at all the other racetracks we've run this year, the cars got freer. So we're kind of, this is a totally different kind of racetrack, but it's depending on whether aero and mechanical happens. So, but I'm kind of expecting the track to kind of free up off the corner, so hopefully that plays in our favor.
Okay, Tony, we'll be watching for that. We really appreciate you guys talking to us. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
And our over-the-wall reporter today is going to be Eric Ludwig. He's the jackman for the number 7 of Danica Patrick. And there he is. And we've talked about how this is exciting for the drivers. How is it for you guys down there on pit road?
I find it very exciting today to be out here at the inaugural run. It's just like any other race, though. I mean, the only thing different, you have fans sitting right behind you. We're all pumped up about being with this in-car reporter and having Danica run for us today.
All right, well, you be safe out there, Eric, and thanks for cooperating with us and being our over-the-wall reporter.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, so the cars are now down into turn number 1 as the lights are out on the pace car, which means next time by, we will be going green. You remember what it was like being here for the very first time, Dale. Tell us.
Yeah, it was just an incredible feeling to know that you were actually going to be racing at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And it was almost difficult to contain those emotions as you got ready to make your start here and realizing, hey, now there's a lot of cars out here, and trying to get down into turn 1 through that in turn 2 without any incident.
Yeah, I can back that up. I was crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Sr. We were on the front row, and he was so pumped up, so jacked up to get this thing started for the first time. He hit the wall coming off turn 2, just like you said. I mean, it's hard to contain your emotions. This is such a big event, and I know all these drivers are ready to go.
The greatest names in motorsports have competed on this legendary oval. Some have their name on the Borg Warner Trophy. Others have that beautiful brick. One of them sitting to my right. And now today, a nationwide driver for the very first time will also share in that experience of being a first-time winner at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, joining the likes of Ray Haroon over 100 years ago, Michael Schumacher in Formula One, Jeff Gordon, of course, in the NASCAR Sprint Cup. The butterflies, they are definitely in your stomach as they are coming through the North Chute. We'll be getting ready to go green here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Pace car coming through turn number 4. The fans here in the stands on the front stretch, they're now coming to their feet. You can hear them in the background. Folks, get ready, because we are about to write another page of history in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. On the front row, Casey Kane and Kyle Busch and young Ty Dillon and Denny Hamlin right there behind them. They come down the front stretch, flag in hand, and this race, the Indy 250 at the Brickyard, is green. Whoa, gonna go try it 3 wide through there. That gets a little tight. That's Kurt Busch in the number 1.
And we'll have to see on the start of this race. Kyle Busch beat Casey Kane, the pole sitter, to the line by a big distance, but it looked like Casey Kane is having some kind of problem with his race car right now.
Possibly spinning the wheels.
I don't know if it's even spinning. It's like the engine could never get up. I don't know if Casey could have possibly been in the wrong gear or something like that, but it sure didn't take off.
Yeah, it was not a clean start. It kind of made it dicey getting into turn 1. Saw Kurt Busch take advantage of that deep in the field there, and he made some passes.
Coming down to lead lap number 1, it will be Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, then Casey Kane, Ty Dillon, and Joey Logano. That's your top 5.
It's always different. These cars have practiced a lot, but not in a big pack. They started off getting down in the corner all together, and it really probably surprised a lot of drivers how free their car was in that situation.
Yeah, a lot of them were talking about these type situations. What was their car going to do? How was it going to react? These cars have a tapered spacer, not nearly the horsepower that the Cup cars have. So they were really concerned about getting side by side and allowing people behind them to come. But I think the draft, just like we saw right there with the pass, going to play a big effect as you get to the end of the straightaways, especially going into 1 and 3.
So important to carry that momentum. You see Kurt Busch now trying to make the move.
There was the 12 car also.
He makes the pass on Ryan Blaney.
Yep, Sam Hornish gets around Blaney.
See him snaking down the straightaway, utilizing that draft.
That's Brett Keselowski in that 22. Right behind him in the 20 now is Joey Logano with the 3 of Austin Dillon.
Logano had a good qualifying effort, but he wasn't all that impressive in practice on Thursday. He wasn't very happy with his race car either, but they really struggled trying to get some speed and race setup.
That 33 you saw was Paul Menard, last year's winner at the Brickyard 400. Menard right now in 9th position. And here comes Sam Hornish looking to get underneath the 31 of Allgaier, and he's doing it.
That's really where, in talking again to the drivers, they expected to be making a lot of passes where they could use that draft and really take the position getting into turns 1 and into 3.
All right, you mentioned you wanted to see the start again. Let's go back and show you exactly what happened as they came down for the green flag. And without a doubt, 2 cars were actually in front of him.
I just don't know how they can throw the green run not even past the green start line. Yeah, that didn't look right. Clear about 5, nice and smooth.
I noticed they threw the green flag, but the start of the race, the flagman doesn't start the race. The driver on the pole starts the race. I don't know what, apparently NASCAR is not saying or doing anything about it, but I agree. It's up to the pole sitter to start the initial start of the race.
And there are 2 lines on the outside wall, which is the restart zone. And what Casey was referring to was we hadn't even made it that far and the green flag was out. So it sort of caught him.
That's a restart zone. I'm not sure that even comes into play on the start of the race. They do lecture the drivers to bring them down side by side and don't beat the pole sitter.
But I think that's where Casey was thinking. He's thinking that he can't go before that line. We'll have to find out, see what happens as this continues to progress. On board right now with Brad Keselowski as we're working lap 5. That is young Ty Dillon right in front of him. Boy, was he impressive in qualifying today.
And still impressive. He's hanging right in there, right ahead of Keselowski.
He started 3rd. He's running 4th right now. And your race leader is Kyle Busch. He was fastest in both practices, and he's out front right now by 0.6 of a second.